In a non-Fluentd world, how are the logs collected? Let us say we want to push our application logs to a monitoring system such as Splunk. We will have to build a couple of scripts. Script to grab the log data, another script to parse the data, a script to filter data such as masking and aggregation, and finally a script to push the log data to the backend system. This complexity increases as we try to collect logs from multiple sources across multiple hosts and push it to various backend systems. That is what Fluentd is trying to solve. In this Fluentd tutorial, I will be demonstrating how do we push the application logs to the Splunk cloud through Fluentd. Sit tight and hang around with me till the end of this video to understand how this is done. Subscribe to my channel to get more content like this. Without further ado, let us jump into the video now. Fluentd is a unified logging layer that decouples data sources from the backend systems. It collects the events from various data sources and it sends it to the backend systems. Fluentd helps to collect logs from various data sources such as syslogs, access logs, application logs. Fluentd then uses its output plugins to send the log data for storing to the backend systems. Through the various AI tools built into the backend systems, the log data is analyzed for any kind of anomalies. What are the benefits of using Fluentd? Fluentd is simple and flexible. It takes a few minutes to set up the Fluentd logging, and there are close to 500 plus plugins compatible with various data sources and data outputs. It is an open source software which is licensed under Apache 2.0. It is a pluggable architecture where new custom plugins can be added when required. It has a very small memory footprint and it scales very well. Community behind Fluentd keeps improving the software. Fluentd has a pluggable architecture consisting of over 500 plus plugins, allowing Fluentd functionality to work with different input and output data sources. These plugin types are wired together through the Fluentd configuration file to create the Fluentd pipeline. Log sources includes access logs, syslogs, application logs, database logs, you name it. Input plugins collects the log data from multiple data sources. This includes file, databases, and so on and so forth. Parser plugin parses the custom source log data format, which Fluentd then can understand. Parser plugin is wired closely with the input plugin for a given data source. Filter plugin allows Fluentd to modify the incoming logs. Modification includes masking information, enriching the fields, so on and so forth. Buffer plugin is used by the output plugin to store incoming streams temporarily before flushing them to the backend system. Formatter plugins modifies the log data format as required by the backend system. Output plugins uses the formatter plugin and the buffer plugin seamlessly. Finally, the output plugin sends the formatted log data to the backend system. For the purpose of this tutorial, I will be using the tail input plugin to tail the application logs, and the tailed logs will be sent to the Splunk cloud using the Fluentd Splunk Enterprise plugin. As a first step in this Fluentd tutorial, we will be setting up the TD agent. So TD agent is a stable distribution package of Fluentd. I'm going to install the TD agent on my CentOS, and I have opened the installation document for that. I will be installing the TD agent 4. If you're going to install the TD agent on a different OS, and if you run into any problems, don't worry, you can put it in the text box below. and I will definitely help you with that. Without further ado, let us start installing the Fluentd. So just copy this script. It is going to download it and it's going to install the Fluentd package. I'm going to head back to the terminal, and pretty much this is going to take a few minutes time. I'm going to pause this video. So we have the TD agent installed. Now let us start the TD agent now. Copy this command, systemctl start TD agent service. Head back to the terminal. It is started now. How do we check the status of the service? Just key in systems CTL status and TD agent service. It is currently active and running. So how do we know that whatever package that we have set up is working correctly or not? So there is an out of the box way to test it out. So this is a script. It's a kind of curl a command we are going to run, and we are going to just post the JSON message. This is just for the purpose of debugging. So when I just execute this command, it should have logged this message in the TD agent log file. How do we check that? So just do a tail -f/var. So this is the location where the TD agent log file is located. So at the end of the day, this log file, you have to look into it in case if the TD agent is not working correctly. This is the first place to look at it. So we have the JSON message which is logged into the TD agent log file, which means that we are pretty much all set at this point of time. So we will continue with the rest of the configurations. The next step is we will have to install the Fluentd Splunk output plugin. This plugin is currently located in the GitHub location. I'll have to clone this repository, and I need to install the gem. So how do we clone the repository? Just copy this Git repository URL, head back to the terminal, and just issue git clone. And if I just look at it, this has set up the repository in my VM. So now we have to install the output plugin. How do we do that? Just head into this folder, the repository folder, and just issue td agent gem, and just to install and provide the name of this gem. So we have the output plugin set up. Next step, we are going to do some configurations around Splunk. Before that, we need to understand some details about Splunk. Since our application logs are going to be sent to Splunk, let us try to understand Splunk at a very high level. Splunk is a monitoring tool. It is a SIM tool. SIM stands for Security Information Event Management. Splunk is going to store all the logs. So whatever logs that are generated from various sources, Fluentd is going to capture that. It is going to send it to Splunk. Splunk is going to store it. Splunk has got built-in analytical and visualization tools, which will be used to analyze these logs. It's more of, there's a lot of artificial intelligence, machine learning involved. Splunk has got all those capabilities, and using those tools, anomalies are identified, which is used to track down any kind of ongoing attack. So in a nutshell, Splunk is used extensively by the monitoring team and by the cybersecurity team. So I'm going to stop here with regards to explaining Splunk. If you have a on-prem Splunk setup, great. If you don't have it, you can sign up for the Splunk Cloud, which is a 14-day trial. You just need to click on the free Splunk, and you've got to follow some instructions. And finally, you have your own space, Splunk space, to test our demo. you need to have this Splunk setup before we can proceed further. I have signed up for the Splunk Cloud, the 14-day trial, and this is my URL. I'm just going to sign up, and let me just sign in. This is the home page. You have it. This is a kind of dashboard, and go into settings, go into data inputs, go into the HTTP event collector. You will see a couple of tokens. Why do we need these tokens? The Fluentd Splunk output plugin has to authenticate itself with the Splunk cloud before it can transmit the logs. So we need a token. So that is what we are going to configure now. So if you don't have a token, I have 3 different tokens I have created. You could create any number of tokens, and if you don't have any tokens, just click on new token and just follow the steps. So let's say demo 2, and I'm going to give it as YouTube token, and I'm just going to, these are optional, so just have the enable indexer acknowledged, click on next, and I'm going to just select all these, and I'm just going to go automatic. Just go to the next screen. So this is the review screen. Finally click on submit, and here we go. This is the token that is generated, which we will have to, which we need to have it in our TD agent configuration file. This will help us authenticate the output plugin with the Splunk cloud. So again, once this is done, just go back to settings, go to the data inputs, go to the HTTP event collector. This is our token, and if you want to see the value, you can see it. Pretty much, this is a configuration that we need to do once we have the Splunk cloud available. So the next set of steps, we'll be looking at how do we configure our TD agent, the various plugins. We will look at it. We need an application which can generate logs. So for the purpose of this Fluentd tutorial, I have created a shell script which will behave like an application, and it's going to create logs every 10 seconds. So let us quickly review that shell script. It's a small shell script which has got an infinite loop, and it's going to write a JSON payload into this file. It happens every 10 seconds, and this file will be monitored by our TD agent, and we will have to set this up in the TD agent configuration file. This is what we are going to do next. We have reached the crux of our Fluentd tutorial. We will be modifying our TD agent configuration file. The TD agent configuration file is located in etc TD agent, and the name of the file is tdagent.conf. I have just backed up this file, and I will be creating a new TD agent configuration file. The contents will be this. So we are saying that we want to use the input plugin, that is the tailing the log file. This comes out of the box with Fluentd, and we want to tail this specific log. And whenever the log is tailed, we want to send these logs to this specific backend system, and the corresponding backend system, the demo app log, that is a matching tag, and whatever inside this will be the backend system to which the logs will be transmitted. So we will be using the Splunk HTML event collector. You remember we had created a token. That token we are specifying here. We'll have to specify what is the host, what is the port, and basically the Splunk HEC is the output plugin which we installed. Okay, so we'll have to specify all these parameters. Why I have to specify the use SSL and SSL verify is, by default, when we are in the trial version, only the self-signed certificate is installed onto the Splunk cloud for our URL. So if we don't provide this, the communication between the output plugin and Splunk cloud will not happen. And we will have to provide the channel, and this should be a valid GUID. And every 5 seconds, the logs will be flushed to the Splunk cloud. So this is a very simple setup, TD agent configuration setup. I'm just going to save this file, and we will have to do a daemon reload, and we will be doing a restart of the TD agent service. So it is restarted. So now what we're going to do is we're going to head down to the folder where we have our application, and we're going to just start the application. So it has started creating the logs. I'm just going to copy this. Meantime, let me just log into my Splunk cloud. Just give me a second. I'm just logged in. I'm trying to log in, excuse me, to the Splunk cloud, and let me just sign in. And once we are here, just go to the search and reporting, and I'm just going to copy this information, whatever we have created in the log file. I'm going to head back to the Splunk cloud. Yes, we have all these events that are generated by our application. Now it is logged into the Splunk cloud. Pretty much we have reached the end of this video. Please do try this at your home. If you have questions, if you are running into any problems, put it in the comment section, and I will definitely respond back. I think this was an amazing tutorial, and I will catch up with you in another video soon. Thank you so much. Bye.